Welcome back, guys. Mike here, Canadian Cards. Just thought I'd hop on. Probably a good year wait for a PSA DNA. When I sent this sub in with Garrett at Slab City, I believe it was March of 2022. Now, I want to preface this by I sent some index cards and what I think are postcards and such, but like different items and a bunch of cards. I got the cards back in about 6 months. I got those, maybe even sooner, probably 3 or 4 months. But all of these are larger items that took a while, and they finally came in. And even though Garrett is on deployment, due back in May, his wife Tiff is handling the duties at Slab City and doing a bang-up job. So I know when she reached out just before they had their granddaughter, she said when she came back she would package it up. So we've got some Montreal Canadiens, some Toronto Maple Leafs, and one of the greatest of all time. These are all hockey, and the last one is the one I'm most excited about. I want to preface this by saying at the time of recording, when I opened the box, one didn't pass, and it was an index card of Vince McMahon. They questioned the authenticity, and so do I now that I look at it. But needless to say, I sent it in, and ironically, my wife picked it up because it fell out of the box upstairs, and I don't know what she did with it, to be honest. So she might have threw it in her purse or something. I don't know. So she's walking around with a non-authentic autograph of Vince McMahon, and she's out right now. So let's get into these. So this they label as a card. This is longtime Leafs captain Dave Keon. It's just a blank back. To me, it's more of a postcard, but there's the printed on, and then there it is in ink. So Dave Keon, probably one of the most loved Maple Leafs of all time. This gentleman, one of the great Leaf goalies of all time, Mr. Johnny Bower, signed it John Bower back in the day. Now this one says postcard. So, and it is because it's got place stamp here. This one has nothing on the back and the Keon, so they label it a card. But at any rate, they're Leafs, and I can't stand the Leafs, so these will be for sale, any of the Leafs. This one's cool. Gordie Howe. They call this a trading card. Now, this is kind of bizarre. So they call this a trading card. Now, this is obviously a 1960s postcard. There's his auto right there. But here's the thing. So it doesn't give a date on here. And I mean, if you look closely, look at all the staple holes in it. And that's okay. It says, holder of 12 major National Hockey League records, now certifies True Line sports equipment for you through Eaton's stores and catalogs. Yada, yada, yada. For those of you that don't know, Eaton's is a department store in Canada, pretty much defunct now. So I don't even know if there's one in Toronto. I know it started out the Timothy Eaton Company. And, but awfully good looking piece. And you can really see the holes coming through there. But I still think that looks pretty sharp in that old time NHL All-Star uniform, or maybe it's just a generic one that he wore for the photo shoot. This is interesting. This is from this is a Tivoli Garden Restaurant complimentary breakfast buffet or breakfast upgrade value of $5 at the Radisson Hotel, Toronto, which is very cool. But on the back, that is signed by none other than Patrick Waugh, longtime Habs goalie and Colorado. And they just call it a pass. So, I don't know, somehow someone had this and seen Mr. Waugh at a hotel and just said, hey, would you sign this? He did, and now I own it for some reason. Next up, Le Gros Bill, the captain. Number 4, Jean Beliveau. This one they also label as a card just because it's blank back. To me, again, it's more of a postcard. Again, there's the printed, and there's the actual number 4, silver. He signed a lot of stuff. I have loads of autographed stuff of him, and I may hang on to a couple of pieces. I've got an autographed jersey in the man cave. Actually, it's autographed by 3 guys. It's the 10 Cups Club. Anyone who's won 10 Stanley Cups, it's him, Henri Richard, and Yvon Cornwallis. So, might move that. Definitely going to try and move this one of Jean Beliveau because it's addressed to Bill Campbell. And they also say this is a card. Looks like something in French from Molson Breweries. Again, just blank back. I hate that it's in this and it's all mumbo jumbo. But just nice black and white picture. To Bill Campbell, best regards, Jean Beliveau. Le Gros Bill, as he was known. This one, too, is very cool. Maurice Richard. They label this a postcard, which it is. So it looks like it was mailed to Andre Corvo, 305 something Point Vieux, and that's in Quebec. So, and there's his phone number. So at one point, that was sent out to, I'm guessing, Andre Corvo. Although, if you look closely here, it also says to Bill, best. I want to say that says best wishes, but it doesn't. It's probably something in French. No idea. Anyways. So printed on here, and then his written right there. So got a few pieces from him. That'll probably be something that gets sold because it's made out to Bill. I wish the other one didn't say Bill Campbell, because then that one's specific. I can sell that to someone, the Richard, to a Bill. This one, they call it a card. This is Jean-Claude Tremblay, J.C. Tremblay. Was a former Montreal Canadiens defenseman. Again, blank back, so they call it a card. Gold signature. He is deceased. He was also the very first captain of the Quebec Nordiques of the WHA back in 1972. These last 6 are, I'm going to move these out of the way because they're huge. Like gigantic. They're a bit oversized as far as postcards, so I'm going to show these on an angle. So there's your friend and mine, Mr. Wendell Clark. If you're a Leaf fan, this guy's quite arguably #1 in the fans of the hearts, the hearts of the fans of all-time Maple Leafs. Now this one they call a photograph. Although, it's definitely, I mean, it's printed on, looks like Kodak paper, But this down here almost makes it like it was a, you know, here's 100, sign them for your fans type thing. So then I've got another Wendell Clark, and it's also listed as a photograph. And I hate this baggy stuff. It just looks horrendous. But I think the autographs are fairly similar. One in pen, one not, one in, yeah, again, Kodak paper, and it surprisingly has an advert for Kodak. So, we were talking about Johnny Bauer earlier, so I have another one. They also list as a photograph. And these things are just, they're massive. Like, if you look at, you know, the size of a card, and then you have like a regular card right beside it. I guess maybe I should compare it to a hockey card, Mike Gartner rookie card. Yeah, it's just massive slabs they put them in. And I actually compared the smaller slabs to these, and these are definitely a bit bigger. So hence, they need the, I don't know what that is. Some scratching all over it. At any rate, Johnny Bauer, the China Wall, I believe they called him. And then I've got two Montreal Canadiens. I have Mr. Dickie Moore, and this is on a postcard. These are the 1983 Cartophilium postcards from the Hockey Hall of Fame. They're almost like a Cooperstown Hall of Fame postcard depicting artwork. I'd like to know who did them. Obviously, we know Dick Perez did all the ones in baseball, but I don't know who did that. But that's pretty cool for a cabinet. Something like that, I think, looks really sharp. So I may do something with a setup with that. And then also I have Mr. Boom Boom Jeffrey on. Also listed as a postcard. That one's, yep, same, 1983 Hall of Fame postcard. So pretty happy about that. This is the one here that I was ecstatic to get. And you don't see a lot of them around. But I bought it from a guy named Carl. Jeff, Top Shelf, knows Carl. They're good buddies. And Carl is always taking care of me. I've bought a lot of stuff from him. And I could just tell by the era that this was going to come back legit. And it's entitled Album Page, Foster Hewitt. So for those of you that don't know hockey and the history in Canada, Foster Hewitt was the radio voice of Hockey Night in Canada when it first started way back in the day, before it was on television. You can Google him, and he coined the phrase, he shoots, he scores. And you can see right here, radio, Maple Leaf Gardens, Foster Hewitt. I just think this is a piece of Canadiana, just part of the culture of hockey. I mean, this guy was the voice of hockey for a generation before there was TV. You know, people, you know, my dad said, you know, we used to gather around the radio and listen to Foster Hewitt and listen to the radio and listen to Leaf games. And I'm not sure what to do with this, because I mean, it's a fantastic piece. You just don't see a lot of Foster Hewitts out there. I think for the, you know, I don't know, I think it goes anywhere from, I've seen his autograph go for $300 to $1,000, depending on what it says and what item it is, but I think this is very cool because, you know, he coined the phrase, he shoots, he scores. It's signed in green, which typically in my eyes, and what I've heard, is very traditional for the period. A lot of guys signed in green back in the day, and I just think it's a really special piece. So I don't know. It'll probably stay with me for a while until I get bored with it and send it off. But there you have it, folks. 15 minutes. I apologize for the lengthy video, but pretty special return. And thanks again to Garrett, Tiffany and Garrett from Slab City. Pretty excited. I've talked to him a few times since his deployment. Well, quite a few times. Sometimes he's been in port, and we've spoken over FaceTime. I think we spoke from, he was in Greece. He was in Nice, France. I can't remember the third place he was. But he's doing well. Anxious to get home. Always questioning the hobby and what people are up to and what have you. So I try and keep him abreast of anything that's going on. But that's all I got for you today, guys. I've rambled on long enough, and pretty excited to add this, and pretty happy that you spent some time with me. Take care.